Alright, so welcome to my YouTube channel once again. Today we're going to be working on the Pizza.py task from the CS50 Introduction to Programming with Python. So for us to not waste a lot of time, let's just jump into the task. So it says, implement a program that expects exactly one command line argument, the name or path of a CSV file in Pinocchio's format, and output a table formatted as ASCII art using Tabulate. Now the Tabulate is a module that helps to format whatever input we're going to be inputting as table. It helps to make it look this way. So it says a package on PYPL. This is the link to the Tabulate website. We can get it there. So format the table using the library grid format. This is the format. This is the grid format. It has other formats as well, but this is the grid format we're going to be using. If the user does not specify exactly one command line argument, or if the specified file name does not end in .csv, which we're going to be working with csv, or if the specified file does not exist, the program should instead exit via sys.exit. Now we have some hints over here, and so we're going to be installing our Tabulate module. So we say Ctrl+V, Ctrl+Shift+V, that installs it. Now we're going to clear with Ctrl+C. We're going to create our file, the file Pizza.py. And with that Pizza.py, it's going to be in a directory or folder called Pizza. So we start by creating the folder with the mkdir Pizza. Then we go into folder of the directory. So we make that file by saying code Pizza.py. Alright, so we're just going to jump straight into it. We're going to be needing three modules: the CSV module, the sys module, and the Tabulate module. So we're going to import our CSV module. CSV module. We're going to import our sys module and also the Tabulate. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to say from Tabulate import Tabulate. Now we can start by defining our main function. Alright, so we're going to come back to that. So we're going to have another function that checks for arguments. Another function that checks for argument, we're going to call it check_arg. Okay, we're going to call it check_arg. So now we're going to say if the length of sys.arg v is less than 2, what do? We print too few command line arguments. Too few command line arguments. Alright, so it says we're also going to need to exit with a sys.exit. So if it's less than 2, we're going to exit with a code of 1, with an error code of 1. Now we're going to say elif if the length is greater than 2, we're going to say sys.argv is greater than 2. So what do we print out? We're going to print out too many command line arguments. So, and also we're going to need to exit this sys.exit with a code of 1. Now, also we're going to say if the file ends with a CSV, if it does not end with a CSV, we're going to print out. So we're going to say if not sys.argv if not sys.argv, now we're going to need access to the second argument. If the second argument, so we also need to pass in lower in case the file, in case the user is imputing capital letters, it turns them back into lower caps. So if the sys.argv, which is like the second argument, if it ends with a .csv, if it does not, I apologize, if it does not end with a .csv, we're going to print not a CSV file. Alright, we're also going to exit this too. With a code of 1. Now, we're also going to be creating a function called print table. We're going to call it print table. Now, this is also going to take in an argument, and also this also takes in an argument. Let's call it arg, and this we're going to call it file. Let's just call it file. Alright, so first of all, we're going to try to, with our try block, and we're going to say with open, we're going to use our F string here. So we're going to say with open, we're going to be opening our second argument. So we say sys.argv 1. Okay. So we have this here. We're going to be opening whatever the file we're going to be using will be the sys.argv, which is the second argument. So we're going to be opening it as file as well. It could be any other. So let's continue. And here it says, recall that the CSV module comes with reader, comes with a method. So the reader returns a list of values for each row as plain list. In other words, it just turns each row it's iterating. Whatever value is going to return them as list. And it says it also has the DictReader. What the DictReader does, it returns each row as a dictionary, where the keys are taken from the first row, which is the header. So we're going to be using csv.reader just to have access. The reader is a method of this CSV. So we pass in this file, passing it to our reader. So we're going to create a variable to store that. We'll call it reader as well. So we're going to say, we're going to use our tabulate now. So whatever file, the list, we're going to pass in this list now to our tabulate module. So we say tabulate, we pass in the reader, we pass in this file called reader now. We say reader, also have the headers, which takes the first row. Now it also have the table format, which we're going to be using, which is the grid format. Now, what this does, when we pass in an argument, which will be the file, so that file, we're going to pass it to our reader, which returns a list. Now we're going to store that list in this also variable called reader. Now we're passing that list into our tabulate module, which is going to turn that list into a table. Now the table has header. It's going to first of all get the header of our CSV and also the format which we're going to be using, which is the grid format. Now we're going to print out that, we're going to call it, let's call this data. Let's call it data. Now we're going to print out data. We're going to print out data. Now for our except block, we're going to say file not found error. So when there's a file not found error, we're going to print out not a CSV file if it does not find any CSV file. So we're going to say not a CSV file. Alright, so we're also going to need to exit this. When there's an error, we're going to exit with a sys.exit and also with a code of 1. Now we're going to call our main function. We haven't defined that. We've defined it, but we haven't had anything inside. So we're going to say if name equals main, we're going to call our main function here. Alright, so I apologize, I didn't add this. So we're going to work on our main function. We're going to call the check arg. Take this out. So arg, we're going to pass in our parameter. We say sys.argv. Now we're going to call our second function, which is the print table. Pass in our parameter sys.argv index 1. Now we're going to make sure we've downloaded those files by pasting this link here, which is going to download our file. Those files we're going to be using to test the code to our folder. We're going to download that like that. So we paste that. If we check, we'll see we have them here. So that is that. So for us to test, we clear. For us to test, we say Python Pizza.py. We'll test it. We'll say what are the regular.csv. We'll say regular.csv. regular.csv. Sorry, where am I getting? Oh, I'm sorry about this. So we're going to call that again. So there it is. Our program works. This is the table, and now we're going to test our program to see if we pass. We're going to paste. Let's just wait a bit. All right, so here it is. We passed the test, and so once again we've come to the end, and I'm still trying to grow my YouTube channel. So please do well to subscribe and like the videos, and God bless.